This girl is on fire. This is Too Late to Sleep. Yes, there's a lot to talk about. We will get into "For in the Glory of Satan," of course, in a minute. But the big news this week was probably Impact related. Going into their tapings yesterday, they had basically half their top stars leave. You had Drew Galloway, Mike and Maria Bennett, both Hardy Boys, and assumedly their family, as well as Jade, all left Impact together. So you've got the former Impact Grand Champion, the former Women's Champion, and your current Tag Team Champions in the middle of their Expedition of Gold story. All gone. Apparently this is because of new contract demands. Apparently they were trying to lock them down a little bit more than they were comfortable with. Drew Galloway said if they'd have come to him, I think it was 3 weeks ago or maybe 3 months ago, he would have been fine with it. But they came to him now and he wasn't okay with it. It could also have to do with the new creative teams coming in. Jeff Jarrett apparently has a lot more personal say over everything. Bruce Pritchard and Zeb Coulter, apparently still going by Zeb Coulter, even though that was a WWE thing, instead of going back to Dutch Mantel, coming in and taking charge of things as well. Next week's episode is going to be very interesting. The spoilers are out. I'm avoiding them. I like to be surprised. I like to be entertained. I don't like to know everything happening. Impact did tweet out that Alberto El Patron is part of these tapings. So we have that to look forward to. I don't consider that a spoiler if they're going to put that out the way they did. In what regard? Don't know. Don't want to know until it happens, but that's what we know. On to WWE. Seth Rollins announced during a sit-down interview on Raw that got ambushed by Triple H and Samoa Joe that he will be at WrestleMania. But he did not go so far as to say that he'll be involved in an actual match. There's no solid speculation as to just how he is going to end up being used, but he is expected to re-injure his ACL and be out another 8 to 12 months. AJ Styles defeated Luke Harper to claim the #1 contendership for WrestleMania's WWE Championship match, which is great because of the great story that's been built between AJ and the current champion Bray Wyatt. Crap. This isn't going to work out well for AJ, is it? Those rumors might end up being true about the WrestleMania booking. Speaking of Bray Wyatt, he had a bad day on Tuesday as Randy Orton finally paid off his membership in the Wyatt family by burning down the shack that was built over Sister Abigail's grave. A move that seems more symbolic than practical, because if she's under fire ground, what's he doing? What's accomplished? I mean, I know it's disrespectful, but what's being accomplished? I mean, is he burning her corpse? Okay. Anyway, wonderful moment. Kind of curious why this didn't happen already 2 weeks ago. What was the point? I mean, I know in storytelling terms it was to get the get everything going the way they're doing it now, but as far as Randy Orton's concerned, what was the point in not taking the championship match? Why would he have to do this when he could have just gotten the match he already earned and say, screw you, I'm going to face you at WrestleMania? Did he not have access to the cabin beforehand? And if not, why did he need to get inside the cabin? I mean, when he said the keys to the kingdom, are we talking about literal keys? And if not, why? Why hadn't he already been to the compound at some point? He'd been with the Wyatt family for 3-4 months at this point. He had never been there. I'm trying to figure out the whys and wherefores of this, and it's not making sense. That said, I'm really curious to see where this goes with AJ, because AJ now has a title match against Bray, but obviously Randy wants back in, even though he gave it up. So where does that leave AJ? Is he going to get screwed out? Is it just going to be a one-on-one between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, and that's what leads AJ Styles against Shane McMahon, if that's what they really are going to do? So this now gives AJ a reason to be upset with Shane? Because if that's the case, then that means that AJ Styles would be legitimately screwed over by this. So I'm really curious how that's going to go. If it is a triple threat, AJ kind of gets screwed on that one because he's the odd man out. He doesn't have that personal connection that we have with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. You know, that story's been brewing for months. This is just set up as a title match. It's kind of it's a little bit like when Chris Benoit went for the belt at WrestleMania 20, and he was kind of the odd man out. Yeah, he won the match. It was a great moment, but he was kind of the odd man out of the booking leading up to it, because all the storyline was with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Now, after the fact, that's what all the story is about, because they don't want to talk about Benoit, but that's a completely different issue. So, I mean, it can still work out for AJ if that's the way they go with it, because for a while it worked out for Benoit, but it seems like it's going to hurt him. He does have that he's already been the champion in his favor. That helps. But it just... I'm really curious to see where they go with this. They've only got 4 weeks left to build this up, and then that's it. And you really want to get it built up before then, because a lot of WrestleMania buys are not from the network. It's from people who are buying it a la carte, and they want to get those buys in early, especially if it's for like a sports bar or something that's on the fence about doing it, because they need to promote it if that's what they're doing. Speaking of being on the road to WrestleMania, we are having the final pay-per-view before WrestleMania this weekend. That is Fastlane. Let's take a look at the card. On the pre-show, we're going to have the Cruiserweight Tag Match. That is Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa versus Brian Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick, I should say, and Noam Dar with Alicia Fox by his side. This one, I would say, will probably go to the heels. Obviously, it could go either way. It's a showcase match, because these guys don't have a tag feud. You know, it's two feuds put together into a single match, and that makes it harder to call. It's harder to predict, because there's so many different ways it could go. The thing is, I don't expect either of these feuds to end, so it's not going to be one of those where they use the tag match to spin them off onto each other's opponent. That would more likely be if they were to redo the match at 205 Live, but even that, I would say it's probably a little early. I think we're probably going to see these feuds keep going into WrestleMania, or close to WrestleMania. You might not see these feuds exactly on WrestleMania, but it could be on the go-home show of 205 Live. You've got the Tag Team Championship match, which is the Club versus Endzone Cast. I am hoping against hope that the Club is not losing the belts yet. I love Gallows and Anderson with the belts. It took them a long time to get it. I loved when they first came in before they became the Club, and they were just dressed in street clothes and kicking ass. I would love to see them go back to that, but as long as they have to go up against Endzone Cast with the look that they have, without being quite as much of the ass kickers that they originally debuted as, I think that they still, it's going to be a good match, not a great one, and I think that they need to hold on to the belts. We might see a rematch at WrestleMania, because Endzone Cast haven't had the belts yet, and I think with another month on Gallows and Anderson, it would mean more to dethrone them for Endzone Cass as first-time champs, if that's the way they want to go with it. We got Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. Stephanie McMahon made the match to punish Sasha Banks. I think Nia is going to win again. We'll get into that a little bit more when we get to the Women's Championship match, which is next on my card. Charlotte versus Bayley. I think Charlotte continues her streak of pay-per-view wins. I think she reclaims the belt because I think at WrestleMania it's going to be a 4-way match. This is the Raw version of the 4 Horsemen. You swap out Becky for Nia. These are the 4 women that are the Raw Women's Division, and I think that they're going to have these 4 in a showcase match for the title. I think that's when Bayley wins it again. I think that's when she kills Charlotte's streak, and when Charlotte's streak of pay-per-view wins is over, that's when she goes back to, I hate to word it this way, but she goes back to being another women's wrestler. Not that she is just another women's wrestler. I think she's better. I think she's the best one on the roster, but I think once that streak is dead, this perception that she has to be in the title scene the whole time dies. And unfortunately, I think that's what is needed for this division. I think that she needs to step away so that some other people can be highlighted. I think you're probably going to end up seeing... She'll get her rematch. And I think after that, you're going to see Nia Jax step in as the main event heel. Whether she gets the belt or not, I don't know. But I think we're going to see Bayley lose here, win it back at WrestleMania, and then keep it to move on to a feud with Nia. We've got the Cruiserweight Championship match. This is Neville, the king of the Cruiserweights, versus Jack Gallagher. I love Jack Gallagher. Jack Gallagher is one of the greatest success stories in wrestling today. You look at the Cruiserweights, and you've got a guy like Neville that was kind of moved down into the division, and I don't think it was a punishment anyway. I think it was because they needed somebody that has that experience to kind of help build the division. But everybody else in the Cruiserweight division, all these newer to WWE talents, are not getting this kind of mic time because so many of them just aren't proven entities. They do their 2 shows. They do their Mondays and Tuesdays, and then they're with NXT. They're at the Performance Center. They're still training. And they get like a 1-sentence promo here after a match, or they get a pre-taped interview. Jack Gallagher is getting consistent live mic time because they trust him so far ahead of anybody else on that Cruiserweight roster, and he is proving time and again that they are right to trust him. He's great in the ring. Most of these guys are great in the ring, but he's adapting to WWE better than any of the other Cruiserweights. So I don't think he takes the belt now, but I think he will get it soon. I think he deserves the belt, but I think Neville needs to continue his King of the Cruiserweight story for at least a little bit longer. I don't see Gallagher as the guy that's going to dethrone him. I think they're going to have to build up somebody a little bit slower and richer than Gallagher. We've got Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. I can't see Sammy winning this one. I would love to have him win it, but the way they're building up Joe as the destroyer for Triple H, he needs to be invincible. He needs to win this. He needs to destroy Sammy. I think it's going to be a wonderful match. These two are amazing. They've got styles that really kind of complement each other very well. We saw how Sammy worked with Braun Strowman, and this is going to be like that, but better, because Samoa Joe also has a very physical style, but he's a little bit more adaptable to the kind of crazy, not quite cruiserweight, but close style that Sammy wrestles. So this is going to be like a better version of what we saw with Sammy versus Braun. Speaking of Braun, that leaves us to Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. I think that's going to be a hell of a match. I know a lot of people, probably a lot of you guys watching, hate Roman Reigns. I love him. I'm a big fan. And the way they've been telling the story is great. He's really been handling his own on the storytelling. He hasn't been talking a lot, but he wants Braun. Braun wants Roman. It's just these two monsters that want to fight each other, want to hurt each other, and it's going to be a physical, ugly in a great way match. There's not going to be that crucifix sit-out power bomb that we saw Roman bust out on AJ Styles. You know, there's not going to be anything fancy. It's just going to be two big hosses beating the crap out of each other, with both of them being wonderful at doing it. So this is going to be a great match for that. And then finally we got the Universal Championship match. We got Kevin Owens versus Goldberg. This is so hard to call. Goldberg, I love Goldberg, but he hasn't had a big match since he came back. You know, he fought Lesnar, got destroyed. They met at the, he destroyed Lesnar. He was in the Rumble for a couple minutes. You know, he really didn't get challenged. I can't see this match going long. I mean, they're going to have to give it some time just so that Kevin Owens doesn't look like a complete fool. But he's not going to look better than Lesnar. So what do? I mean, they can't have him take Goldberg to a 30-minute classic when Lesnar got demolished in 5 minutes. You know, they can't do that. So it's hard to figure out how they're going to save face with Kevin Owens on this one. And if they even bother to leave him with the belt. I think if Goldberg wins, then he loses it to Lesnar at WrestleMania. There's no way Goldberg holds on to the title for very long. This is like when The Rock came back a couple years ago to face CM Punk so he could take the title into WrestleMania to face John Cena. You know, this is similar to that if Goldberg wins. There's no way he keeps it past WrestleMania, but do they leave the belt on Owens to give his match with Chris Jericho, which has to be happening at WrestleMania, to make that a title match? I don't know. I am going to go ahead and say, because I need to make a prediction, I'm going to say that Goldberg comes out with the belt. It's going to be a clean win. I think Kevin Owens is going to try and make it dirty, but it's going to backfire. It's just not going to work. It's going to be a quick match. I don't see it going longer than 10 minutes, 15 at the most. It's over. Goldberg, new champ. Longest time since championships ever. 12 years or whatever. And it's done. That's what we're looking at for Fastlane. I want to show you guys this. I put this up on a video yesterday from Slam Crate. This is a fanny pack. And it is my new favorite thing. See, fanny pack. That's from Slam Crate. I put up the Slam Crate unboxing video yesterday. I'm going to throw up a video in the end stuff. But I wanted to show you that because that is my favorite thing that I've ever gotten, like, without knowing it was coming. But yeah, check out the Slam Crate unboxing video. We'll toss that up. I'll be back in just a moment. I want you guys to watch this.
¿Por qué tardaste tanto, you butterbot?
Vanguard 1! What is this decrepit erection? Senor Benjamin. Are you okay?
Sí, señor.
Alright, thank you guys for watching. I love you, Trampions. I always love when you guys check this out. I'm going to toss up the videos. This is going to be the Slam Crate video. This is going to be something that YouTube says is great for you. Somewhere in here, there's going to be my smiling face. Click on that to subscribe. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Tell your friends. Check out the thread at the Reddit Country Club that goes along with this. We'll have some discussions. We'll have some fun. I love you guys. As always, I am the Tramp. Cheers.